Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with the chat. It's you, Blink, here again. I'm here with some amazing artists. Gentlemen, can you introduce yourselves to the crowd?
My name is Eric Orr, and this is
Coco144,
and that's who we are.
Nice. Gentlemen, let the people know a little bit of your history. Like, how did you get started? What scene were you here in New York City? Like, you are, what?
Well, you want to go first?
Well, I came to visit you.
Well,
You know,
okay.
this is your show.
Yeah.
I wished you a happy birthday a
That
couple of
too.
days ago,
That's right.
and didn't make your opening because I
Yeah,
was out of town. But
Yeah,
you know, I'm
good
here.
stuff.
Grateful that I could
Austin
make it
Print
into
or
this.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
We're all busy. So.
Yeah. So, origin stories, like any good superhero.
Any good superhero?
Yeah.
My superhero is the character that you see on top of my head.
Nice.
Max Robot. That's the only superhero that you need to know about. All the rest of them, no, let me stop. I'm a superhero fan, Black Panther, Wolverine.
Nice.
You know, all the regulars most people like. Yeah, I'm a comic book guy.
Nice. So that's how you started up. Like, did you come in with the whole comic book scene, or?
No, actually, I came as a graph writer, as did Coco.
Nice.
I wasn't prolific like my friend Coco.
Nice.
But I tried. My name was Easy E. I grew up on Daly Avenue, right here in the Bronx.
Yeah.
My good friend is Reed. You can be familiar with Reed. So Iron Mike gave me my first pilot in front of St. Aquinas on Daly Avenue, and that's how I got started writing.
Nice.
So yeah, I come up as a writer before I was a graffiti artist, before I was an illustrator. So yeah, that's some of the beginnings
Oh,
of
nice.
Eric Orr. Yeah.
Coco, what's your humble beginnings?
I took part of the first generation of. We used to call ourselves writers, not graffiti writers.
Yeah.
Graffiti was a terminology that was given to us by the media, and it was more like a demeaning definition. Wasn't even considered an art or a form of expression. It was more like rebellious kids, and yeah, I was rebellious. I wanted to just destroy everything. As far as destroying everything as in writing my name on the subway system and on the streets and stuff. I'm born and raised in Harlem. Back in the days, we used to either use Roman numerals like Coco1 or Coco561, but I'm Coco144. That was my street name. So people using Roman numerals, building numbers, or the streets. Fortunate enough to take part of the first generation of writers when it was just a simple signature.
Yeah.
What today is called tag, we used to call them hits.
That's right. A lot of people don't say that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
The fact that I'm here today, 50 years later, chopping it up with Orr,
And you're dating
which
us
is
right
one of
now.
the brothers that, so it went through, I have to credit the entire movement because it's not about who started it, it's who's still carrying the torch,
Oh,
and that's how I look at it, and
that's a good analogy. Yeah.
So, what led? This is to you, Eric. What led to your transition from graph writer to now where you're at? Like, what was the early transition?
It's a natural transition, I believe. Any graph writer or writer, was influenced by lots of visual, a lot of comic books, a lot of illustrations in magazines and things like that. I was a big fan of comics, as you know, anime as well.
Yeah.
And I was a big fan of the robot dance movie. Yeah. And that's pretty much where the robot came from. I was pretty good at it. My brother will tell you that I was really good at dancing, doing the robot. I can't remember the year it came out, but there was this cartoon called Robot Man. Do you remember that? This yellow guy, he had like a beanie with the thing on the top. And I was really attracted to that particular cartoon. I said, I'm going to make myself a robot. Nice. And then I just created this robot head.
Yes.
And I dropped Easy E, and I just started doing the robot head in my neighborhood, which was Daly Avenue first. Then my parents moved us up to Parkchester. So I'm like the only writer in Parkchester. And I'm, you know, getting in trouble because you're the only one there, so everybody knows, you know, he did it. So I had to tone it down a little bit. So yeah, so I started doing the robot head. Years later, I'm in a park, the West Park in Parkchester. I'm doing some chalk drawings for the kids in the neighborhood. They thought I was Keith Haring because I'm doing chalk drawings of these characters, and they thought those were those drawings that he did was me, and I was like intrigued, like who's this guy? So then when I started venturing out and I saw his work, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And I kind of gravitated to it right away because it was sort of immediate and it was ephemeral. Got nothing against what the cats was doing, you know, the 80s cats doing the spray paint and stuff like that. But I thought that because it was static, it was staying there, that when people got off the subway, you had to engage with it. Now, you can't see it now, but the old trains, the trains pulled into the station, it was like a blur. You had to be standing back somewhere on a street corner to actually see the names like that. And a lot of times you're not there. You're traveling in the system. So when it came into the station, you really didn't know what it was. But for me, when I saw Keith's work static there, I gravitated to that. I understood that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so I started doing those black chalk drawings.
Oh. Yeah. It's cool to hear where your inspiration came from, like a little bit more. That's wow. Like just to be a part of that scene as well. And Coco, like, what was your transition as well? Like, are you still continuing where you're at right now?
Yeah, I'm still painting. I mean, still writing. I mean, it's kind of funny because when I tell people I'm a writer, well, so what do you write? You know, fiction or nonfiction? It's a fine name. Oh, so you're a graffiti writer. So that I'm going to call it that label gets. I mean, I've gotten to a point where I got all political about it. And you're not going to call me this, you're not going to call me that. I got to a point where I've you know, with age, you chill out and you're like, you know, well, yeah, I could relate myself to, you know, to the graph scene, or call myself a graph writer or something like that. My work has become more abstract. My name is still in it. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I feel like I was born yesterday. I just started working this morning.
Nice.
You know, I feel like I have a lot more product to put out, a lot more work. And I'm not a vampire or anything, but I attend shows and I look at, you know, and I appreciate looking at other people's works, other writers' work, other artists, you know, their work, and it inspires me. You know?
Oh, yeah.
The funny thing is that, you know, I'm a working class kid, you know, so being an artist is not a working class goal, you know. So that's what this movement did. It flipped the script. You know, what today is called street art.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to put that together, but
I'm part of that.
It did come from the streets. I mean, I related to, you know, it's an inner city cry or scream, you know, shit to say, hey, you know, I'm Eric, you know, I'm from this neighborhood. This is what I'm doing. So it became a form of communication.
It was a form.
I wouldn't know him. I wouldn't know a lot of people from the scene if it wasn't through the writing culture.
Yeah, you were letting folks know that you were there.
Yeah, and you know, and here we are now. It's global. It's become global. It's been global for a good minute, but now we're talking about. It's powerful. It's really powerful. It's a lot bigger than what we.
Who knew?
You know.
Who knew? What I like about the movement is that it's grassroots. It wasn't contrived. It's for me, and I could be wrong, you could do your search out there. I think it's the longest running art movement.
Of course, hands down. Hands down.
Impressionism, any other ism, Cubism, you name it. This writing graffiti movement to this day. It has to be like 50 years now?
It's 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna say 50 years plus, but and to be continued.
Yeah.
Because it's not. It just keeps on growing. It's getting stronger. It gets stronger.
Yeah, the love when I was working in Times Square, I saw the love of graffiti just globally. Like you'll see people come from like places like Kazakhstan and places you wouldn't even think would have a graffiti scene. Have a graffiti scene. So you guys have left your imprint on the world, and it's a beautiful thing that you guys can recognize that as well. As much as it keeps transforming and changing throughout the ages, it'll be called something else by like next 20 years.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, but this is the Mecca. This is where everybody comes to. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. I always ask artists, what would you say to the young people of today, especially seeing a lot of young artists struggling to not only find their place, but like create as well, when everybody is like kind of copying each other? Like, what do you?
Well, the copying thing that just happens. Like when I started, I copied from magazines and comic books and things. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when that young artist finds its voice, and how that young artist finds its voice. It could be finding on its own, his or her own, or a mentor like Coco or myself that says you might want to go in that direction, or keep working with that. Give you a quick story.
Please.
I lived in Atlanta for a while, and I was doing this real linear work, kind of what you're doing. And my mom got sick. I came back to New York, and I went to Sotheby's with this work, and I was like, I wanted to find out what was going on. And one of the girls that was there when I went up there, she remembered this work. She was the one that says, "You need to go back to doing the robot." And here I am back with the robot.
It's always like
that's
full circle, right?
Yeah, I could have been doing this whole abstract linear thing. Don't know where it went, but I know when she said, and the way she said it was like, you need to go back to what you know, basically. So I went back to that, and my first show was Lev's Train Show. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was my first.
Down on 2nd Avenue.
Yeah, that was my first show when I got back into New York from Atlanta.
Yeah.
I think that we're all out here. We as we grow, we tend to, into society, we tend to have be alienated, and we're on a constant search of finding out who we are, and who our ancestors are, and basically where we're coming from. I feel that this medium, this expression, is one way of exercising who we are, and putting our voice and our talent out there. And it's all a process, man. It's like, it's like, at one point I thought I knew a lot of things, and I realized that at 65 years old, I don't know a damn thing.
That's beautiful.
Then you put it out there.
No. That's a beautiful thing to realize.
I'm in school. I'm ready. And I like to listen to the young voices.
As people have I'll use the term seasoned. What is like a moment that you had where you like had to persevere, or like in your art career, like a difficult moment that you had to get past, or whether it was just like something self-inflicted or external? Like, life happens, and I see a lot of people not learning to deal with those little things and keep. Well, like maybe if you can share something that you just had a little something, nothing too crazy.
Well, I vividly remember 1973 when I was in a collective called UGA, and Bronx writers were joining the collective, and my signature, my tag was regular block letters, and the Bronx writers were coming in phase 2. Admiral, Riff from 70, coming with these crazy flamboyant, styles, these lettering, just the lettering was out of hand. And I was ready to quit because I didn't feel like I was up to par with what they were putting out. Richie Obama put his arm around me and says, you got it. Just gotta keep on going. So it was sort of like I was feeding off the energy. Again, I'm not a vampire, but it's like being around good people, being around and being around good people that care for you. You get to jive and exchange ideas and things like that. That day, Richie putting his arm around me and telling me you could do it, you could keep on painting, gave me a shot in the arm. You know.
Yes. Thank you, Richie.
Yeah.
For me, it would have been when I left New York to go to Atlanta. I kind of stopped painting altogether. My children were really small, and I became. I want to say I was depressed. I was just really not in a sunken place either. I was just really sort of sad the way things were going. And my aunt, who was worked for the post office, got me a job as a casual. So I was working in the post office in Atlanta for like 3 years, throwing bags and all this other stuff. But this young lady by the name of Cookie Haynes, if you guys know Michael Haynes from the Falcons. I was working. I was doing some odd job, and it was at a convention, and I did a little sketch, and she saw it. She was like, "What are you doing here?" And she gave me the opportunity. She's like, you know, my husband wants to design a pool, and I want a mural. And I said, oh, I can do that. You know shit about this, designing pools or murals. And I went to their house, and I made it happen. You know, and that's when right after I did that, I designed the pool, I did the mural, and that just sort of sparked it. And I owe it all to Miss Cookie, Miss Cookie Haynes. Yeah. She took care of my kids as well, so she helped out a lot.
Thank you, Miss Haynes. Appreciate it. So I usually like to wrap up these interviews with the artist giving a quote or something that resonates with them to say to the viewer out there. You know, like maybe they're sitting down thinking, you know what, I ain't got it. I don't think I should do it or something like that. And they just need that little thing to whisper in their ear and resonate. What would you say to them?
Mine is always going to be just continue, just draw, just create, because you never know. Like, shit, man, who knew? Who knew that I would meet this guy? Because I just went to a show at the Roxy. You know, I'm just, you know, a person in the damn crowd. And I mean, and I did my first 620 t-shirt, so I had to go by on the t-shirt, and that's how he saw that. And he was like, oh, he gravitated to it. He was like, hey, I like that. Do you want to collaborate with me? And I'm like, yeah, all right, but yeah, okay, you know. And then, you know, then it was just you write your number on a piece of paper, you put it in your pocket, and then you hope for somebody to call you. 3 days later, I get the phone call. I'm like, who's this? Oh, this is Keith Hearn. Yeah, remember I met you at Roxy? I'm like, oh, okay. Meet me at Bleecker Street Monday morning. I'm like, okay. And then the rest is history, man.
Yeah, man.
Because like I said, you just never know. Who knew that I would be the only person to ever work with this man in the subway, which he got his start, and he's one of the biggest contemporary artists out here today. From a movement that he wasn't really a writer, he wasn't a graffiti artist, but he loved what we did. He loved the language that was going on. He understood the cry, as you said. He understood that. And he said, I'm going to speak to the people, and I know where to speak to the people, the same way these young folks are speaking to the people in the subway, on the subway trains. So just keep doing it, that's all.
Yeah. I think that creative or not, we tend to be our worst critics, and we need to cut ourselves some slack.
Yeah.
And move forward.
Nice.
Instead of self-sabotaging ourselves, you know.
Sometimes that's the process.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying that you got a show coming up and you haven't done shit for it. and it's coming up soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, I work like that too, you know.
Yeah, I think we're all wired like that to some degree or another.
And I think that's, as a young person, they don't get that process. Like, they don't understand their process. Some people, like I'll throw out one out bio from Tat School, man. That cat, he cranks them out like boom, boom, boom. For me, I don't do that. I don't do that. It needs to build, and then one day that shit just comes flooding out.
Like a pressure relief valve, right?
Yeah. So some people, they think that they need to be in their studio and cranking out this work all the time, and if they're not, they're like, oh, I got writer's block. No, that's not it. That's not your process. When you figure out your process and you get comfortable with it, then you understand it.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey,
Because people come. I didn't mean to cut you off. But people come to my studio and think that shit's gonna happen. And they come down. Oh, let's go see Eric. And we just chilling, listen to Netflix and all this other shit, drinking, and nothing's going. Like the Beaches show. We just, you know, that he got his processes are similar to mine. That's why we work well together. Is because man, we was shooting this shit for like 3 months, and then last month he was like, oh, I gotta get to work, and then that shit just started coming out, and that's when these came out. Because he started, I was like, oh, let me do something. And that's how these came out.
Yeah, that frequency, once the frequency's there, you hook up to it.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. I was talking about input versus output. Like sometimes you put out so much that there's nothing left to give. So you gotta take in something. You gotta go and enjoy life, or like go to a concert, something, and build back up that input, right? So you can output again. So like that's one way of like looking at it for me. That works for me.
You're a smart young man.
I appreciate that. So guys, let these beautiful people know like where they can find you, what's going on right now. Eric, you got a show going on right now. Share.
Yeah, I mean, I have this solo show in New Space at Kreate Hub, 15 Canal Place. It's painted posters. It's actually one of the keystone images that Keith and I did that he memorialized, Orr meets KH, September 24th, 1984. Again, I'm the only person working with him in the subway. You can find me at Orr Designs on Instagram, or just Google me. I'm easy to find.
I'm pretty low key. Pretty much on the rock most of the time, but I'm on IG, so it's Coco144 on IG.
No problem. Yeah.
This dude's humble.
You just said that he had a show as well. Would you like to promote your show as well, sir?
It's actually a month to the date. Next month, March 26th. It's at the Boiler in Greenpoint. It's a huge space, and I have to do a lot of work. I'm going to put it out there on Instagram, and there's going to be some good music. There's going to be some live drumming, and I'm trying to get some other people to come in and put their flavor in it also. But it's going to be a party. There's going to be a party, so come on over and party.
Nice. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And with that, guys, thank you for having me in your space. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you for the interview.
And you guys have a great day. And I know you can't see me, but I'm here. Hakuna Matata, guys. You have a good one.
Bless.
All right. Peace.